August 22nd, 2019 meeting to order. Second item on the agenda is consider approval of the minutes. I did this last week.
It's easy for you to
Like
say.
a Porky Pig, yeah, it was. I just washed my dentures. From the regular meeting held on August 8th, 2019. Are there any changes to the minutes or corrections?
None.
If you're referencing the minutes, I have none.
I was attempting to. Thank you, Commissioner. They were.
Kind of hard to hear down here. I thought that's where you were.
Yeah,
going.
that's where we're going with it. They're approved as presented then. Financial statement, consider accepting the financial statement for the month of July 2019. Mr. Rupp.
Thank you. This is financial summaries for the City of Hayes, month ended July 31, 2019. Revenues in July totaled $2,635,116. That's a decrease of $294,000 when we compare to the same period last year. One notable area of increased revenue, year-to-date transient guest tax increased $37,000 as compared to last year, netting out the 2% increase from a year ago. One notable area of revenue decrease, airport improvement fund revenues were down $443,000 due simply to the receipt of an FAA grant dollars this time last year for the airport wildlife fence and taxiway I expenditures. Expenditures in July totaled $2,560,501. That's an increase of $324,000. Areas of increased expenditures, capital projects expenditures were up $105,000 due mainly to work being done on East 41st Street as well as the North Vine corridor engineering. Economic development, other contractual services were up $142,500 due to the timing of the allocation to Fort Hays State University Foundation and Grow Hayes. Water reclamation equipment expense was up $13,000 due mainly to the repair of a low-service pump at the water reuse facility. And water fund expenditures rose $81,000 as compared to a year ago due to recent well rehab and repairs. Notable areas of decreased expenditures, parks improvement fund expenditures fell $14,865 due to the install of an AC unit at Larks Park a year ago. And water reserve projects decreased $80,000 due to work on a water line on East 10th Street this time last year. Month-to-date general fund sales tax collections were at $628,176. That's an increase of $19,400 or 3.2% as compared to last year. Year-to-date general fund sales tax collections are at $4,219,171, up $87,000 or 2.1%. 6-month average is at 0.51, which is a decrease of 0.88 when compared to a year ago. The report of top 10 quarter-to-date sales tax collections by classification was up $33,850 or 1.76%. These top 10 now represents 79% of the total sales tax collections for July. And the portfolio certificates of deposit on July 31 totaled $62.5 million with a weighted average interest rate of 2.42. That's up 0.6 from a year ago. Total balance of the money market account on July 31 was $1.85 million with a current yield of 0.9. Total investments are up $1,693,000 when compared to this time last year.
I make a motion to accept the July 2019 financial statement.
Second.
Any discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. I thank everyone for joining us tonight, either here in chambers or at home. We appreciate your interest in city government. This is your part of the agenda, public comments. I don't think there's anyone here to address us about a non-agenda item. We're going to move on to the consent agenda, nothing there either. Unfinished business, none to review, so on to new business. Back 9 cart paths award the bid for the removal and replacement of cart paths on the back 9 to J Corp.
Good evening, Commissioners. Jeff Boyle, Director of Parks, here this evening for that exact reason. We would like to award a bid for a section of the back 9 cart paths to be replaced in concrete. This gives you a little idea what the back 9s consists of right now. The red line indicates the concrete work that has already been done, mostly in 2018. Some of that was done the year before, or 2 years before that, by the Parks Department, but just a very short section. So the area in red is all completed. The area in green is not completed, nor is the area in yellow. What we're asking for tonight is to complete the area in yellow. We're kind of working our way from the very back of the course out so that we don't drive concrete trucks across our existing work Although we do have certain areas where we've made the concrete thicker in those areas in case we ever do need to get dump trucks and loaders in, so. This is and I apologize for flipping colors on you here, I didn't realize that till today. And the area in red is the section of 17, number 17 fairway that we're asking to do. It basically goes from the tee box all the way to 18 tee box. So it's a full fairway plus some. There's a little black area where the right here. That is an ideal spot for dump trucks to cross. So that little short section there would be 6-inch concrete as opposed to 4-inch. The entire cart path that we're asking would be 6 feet to match the existing. The yellow line is the truck route. Shows how the concrete trucks and heavy equipment can get in there. We did send out a request for proposal. We received 3 bids. J-Corps was low bid at $48,675. The funds for this cart path come from the Golf Course Improvement Trail Fee Fund. Basically what that is each year, anyone wanting to operate a privately owned golf cart on our course has to pay a $105 trail fee. That money is set aside in the Golf Course Improvement account, can only be used for golf cart paths or associated bridges on the cart path. We are recommending J Corporation for this section of cart paths, and if you approve, this would be the action that we are requesting.
I move we award the bid for the removal and replacement of cart paths on back 9 to J-Corp for a total amount of $48,675 from the Golf Course Improvement Trail Fee Fund.
Second. Any discussion? Appreciate the improvements that have happened over many years. A lot of great investment, and the people that use the course say it's one of the best things we have in town. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Next up, 2 items, the 2019 Uniform Public Offense Code and the 2019 Standard Traffic Ordinance.
Good evening, Don Scheibler, Chief of Police for the Hayes Police Department. You're being asked to consider adopting by ordinance the updated version of the Uniform Public Offense Code and the Standard Traffic Ordinances for use in Kansas City for use within the City of Hayes. The League of Kansas Municipalities publishes a revised version of these books, and the changes are presented to the Commission annually. These books are designed to provide comprehensive laws for Kansas communities, and for the most part, they parallel the state traffic and criminal codes. The overwhelming majority of both books remain the same from year to year, with only a few changes being made. Handout has been prepared, noting in addition there were changes that were made in 2019. These handouts were included with the work session material. Change to the marijuana law. The change in the law allows for an affirmative defense for those being treated by a doctor with CBD oil with up to 5% THC. THC being the active ingredient in marijuana. A person in possession of CBD oil with no more than 5% THC that has been prescribed by a doctor will not be found guilty of this section if that person or that person's minor child has a debilitating medical condition and is being treated by a doctor with CBD oil. The person must have in their possession a letter from the licensed physician that confirms that the person or their child has the medical condition and that they are being treated with CBD oil. They also must present that to the officer at the time they're in possession. This change in the law allows for a person to receive prescribed medical treatment using CBD oil with THC without being convicted of a crime. Here are 3 examples of current laws that have been added to the 2019 UPOC. Unlawful interference with emergency medical attendant. This law prohibits the interference with EMS or impeding them from reaching the scene. Section 3.10 hazing. This law prohibits reckless encouraging another person to perform any act which could reasonably be expected to result in great bodily harm, death as part of joining a club or fraternity organization. Section 10.2, possession of a firearm under the influence, is one we see quite a bit actually. This law prohibits a person under the influence of alcohol or drugs to carry a loaded firearm or to have in their immediate possession immediate access, while inside the vehicle. Where we see this as a person arrested for DUI and they'll have a loaded handgun underneath the seat, in the door, or in the console. I would note this law does not apply to those persons who possess the firearms in their homes, businesses, or their own property. 2 new laws added to the STO include electric assisted scooters. This addresses the use of the scooter on city streets. It prohibits their use on federal and state highways and requires them to follow the same rules of the road as a bicyclist when driven on city streets. Another example of a new law is driver's license possession. This law was changed because officers across the country have having incidents of drivers refusing to hand their license to the officer. This law requires them to clearly state they have to hand it to the officer, require promptly deliver their license to the officer when requested. City Attorney and his staff have prepared ordinances adopting the 2019 version of the Uniform Public Offense Code and the 2019 version of the Standard Traffic Ordinances for Kansas cities. It is the recommendation of city staff that the commission approve both these ordinances. As mentioned earlier, as the mayor mentioned, these are 2 different ordinances. It's a recommendation of city staff that you approve both the ordinances for use within the city of Hayes.
Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion, we approve city ordinance number 3967, adopting 2019 version of the Uniform Public Offense Code for use within the city of Hayes.
Second.
Any discussion? So I have a question, and we didn't want to talk about this last week. So not only do they have to have a letter from the doctor with them if an individual has a bottle of CBD oil with 5% THC, they have to have a doctor's letter with them at all times.
Right. Whenever they're in possession of that CBD oil with THC in it, they have to have that letter.
What if it's like the bottle in the PowerPoint, it's unmarked? How will you know it's 5%?
It would have to be tested,
Okay.
and that would definitely limit us on what we can do with that.
Right.
We went out to the local businesses and we saw, and they were able to show us their paperwork where it shows it doesn't have any THC. So stuff being purchased in Colorado, it does list on there the THC, but if it's in plain unmarked bottle.
Yeah, and usually it's more than 5%.
Yes. So this isn't the best law for us.
No,
we're trying to appease 2 different groups.
You are.
And there's no requirement anywhere for them to label the bottle.
Seems like a very confusing law to me.
Well, you're straddling those that want and those that don't.
Yeah.
Create some challenges for law enforcement because the law, it's an affirmative defense.
Correct, you can arrest them, but
It's illegal for them to have it. But here's a person with a letter from a doctor saying, my child needs this for treatment. And I know they're not going to be found guilty in court, but nothing in the law allows the officer to turn around and hand that back to him. In fact, if he hands it back to him, he's committed a felony in distributing THC.
Wow.
And they can't, at that point in time, they can't take it and test it to make sure of its content?
We could send it in being tested, but yes, we could test it.
And would there be a reason you would do that?
yeah.
Each situation would vary. So,
Chief, does that happen very often where people refuse to hand you their driver's license?
you see it, we haven't had a big problem here. We live in a very good community with good people.
Right.
But across the country, that's been an ongoing challenge for law enforcement. We saw one YouTube video just outside of Salina where a couple was stopped and they refused to give their license, and that became just basically a situation where alongside the road where they're not sure what's going on in there. But like we talked last week, that becomes very dangerous. This is an officer safety issue
Yeah.
because officers are alongside their roads. The longer they're there, the more likely they are to get struck by a car. So this is a good thing for
Yeah,
us.
that's like a good change.
Call for the vote. All those in favor of approving ordinance number 3967, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. I move we approve ordinance number 3968, adopting the 2019 version of the standard traffic ordinance for Kansas cities.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Chief, we can, if electric scooters do appear on Hay streets, we can do further regulations on those. Is that correct?
Yes, we already have, currently have ordinance on that prohibit bicycles being ridden on the street on the downtown area. They would have to follow that law further also. And if we found the need to put further restrictions on there, there's something in the ordinance that we could address later.
Thank you.
And I know you said this, but just making clear what I've seen on the news, they absolutely have to be on the street. If they would, like in Wichita, what I've seen on the news, they've had issues to where some are on the sidewalk and they make it against the law to ride on the
They have to follow
sidewalk.
the same rules as the bicyclists,
Right.
and right now our laws only prohibit bicycles being in the downtown area. It doesn't prohibit them in the residential areas.
Sure.
So,
Interesting.
Any other discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carries 5-0.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Self-contained breathing apparatus air compressor system awarded bid. Chief Dose.
Evening, Commissioners. Ryan Hagens, Fire Chief. Like I said, I'm here to speak with you this evening about purchasing a new self-contained breathing apparatus air compressor system. This year, we budgeted $45,000 to replace our 1993 system. 4 vendors submitted a total of 5 proposals. Air and Fire Systems out of Salina submitted 2 proposals, one for just over $33,000 and the one for $37,954. There is some difference in them, but there is some similarities as well. The one for the $33,000, the compressor is not contained in an enclosure, so the whole system is open to the atmosphere. It can be exposed to the dirt and elements, and also any damage. The one for $37,954, it is in a container, kind of like our current system, so it protects the investment, and plus it has a rating of 12 decibels quieter, and that is the one that we'll be recommending. The picture on the left is our current system, and the picture on the right is the proposed system. Couple differences is we're able to use less bottles because they are higher capacity, and the new system will have a self-contained fill station that we can fill 2 bottles at one time, and this system is designed to encase if a bottle, one of our SCBA bottles, would catastrophically fail and blow up, that enclosure would contain that blast. The one on the left, you see this white thing, is our old fill station that we had a local welding shop make us years ago. It's very difficult to use, unsafe, so we'd like to modernize our equipment. Options to award the bid to Air and Fire Systems as recommended. Select another bidder, reject all the bids, or direct me as otherwise. This is the action that we are requesting.
I'll make a motion that we award the bid for the purchase of new self-contained breathing apparatus air compressor system from Air and Fire Systems of Salina in the amount of $37,954 to be funded out of the new equipment reserve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Your old equipment's, what, 26 years old? Do you expect this?
It should last about the same. We take good pride in taking care of our equipment. If something has a problem with it, we fix it right away. We don't just let things fester. We get on them and repair them quick.
I take it this has a industry standard warranty on it?
Yes.
Okay. And you know how long that,
I think it's a couple years, but I'm not positive on the length of that, of the proposed warranty.
Wow.
and the company we're getting it for, they service those?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, report on progress.
Good evening, Toby Doherty, City Manager. You may have noticed the Public Works Department, in association with the Ellis County Public Works Department, put in a new culvert under 27th Street. This is part of the golf course watershed. We upgraded an 18-inch culvert to a 42-inch culvert to help facilitate the movement of more water to the south side of 27th Street and then to the west. This is what it looks like after it's installed, and then the picture on the left is the exit, and then the Public Works crew has put in a deflecting panel there so it doesn't cause erosion. And I checked it out a couple times during the most recent rains, and it's working pretty well. We had a couple of streets that heaved and buckled, and therefore we had to tear them out. The picture shows 22nd and Canterbury. We also had a heave at 33rd and Vine. This is a picture of the crews putting it back. They used quick setting concrete, and we were able to get it opened up as quick as possible.
What do they attribute that heaving to? I mean,
Just
the heave, obviously,
expansion. Yeah, it's just expansion. We have saturated soils, and then saturated soils which will expand with as the soils warm up, and then thermodynamics concrete will expand when it heats up, and so at some point it does buckle. There was a new sign elected on the walking trail near the levee in Main Street, and it talks about the historic flooding along there, and then the creation of the levee. It's just something that the people walking by can take a look at. The Historical Society helped out in this, or the Kansas State Historical Society helped out in this. Hayes Fire Department hosted a 3-day trench rescue class, and there were several departments that actually took part in this training. The Parks Department did some work Rolling Hills Park on the culverts on the south side of 41st Street in preparation of the sidewalk that the commission approved a few meetings back. And that sidewalk is actually began installation this week, and it will connect the neighborhood south of 41st Street, north of 37th Street, to the multi-use path along 41st Street. GIS added a clarified and updated hydrology layer to our GIS system. We've had a layer in there before, but the hydro lines were updated to provide the most updated accuracy. The Hayes Police Department hosted their community night out. It was their 4th annual community night out. This is done Thursday, October 1st. The Hayes Police Department members served hamburgers and hot dogs to the patrons, and it was well attended. Hayes Police Department also conducted SSRT training. They did active shooter training at the fire training facility. They used the structures out there to conduct their training. Hayes Police Department has recently completed the One Mind campaign. This helps improve their response to people suffering from mental illness. This is an issue nationwide that police officers are dealing with, as monies are removed from mental illness care. A lot of times the all law enforcement agencies are the ones that have to deal with those people. Water resources, there was a sewer main break, and this was the junction of 27th Street and 183 bypass. This is a force main. We had a break where the line went under Big Creek and had to replace it. This involved 900 feet of new HDPE pipe and a couple tie-ins. I want to thank M&D Excavation for quick assistance on that. CVB partnered with FHSU for a learning technologies event, and then they had a new faculty and staff reception at Gella's. CVB also hosted a human trafficking training targeted towards the hospitality and tourism industry. And there was this was a person from the Kansas Attorney General's office did the training. And then Melissa and Sarah with DHTC gave a city tour to some FHSU incoming freshmen. Just a couple project updates. The Elm Ash and 4th reconstruction project. Elm Street is open. There's still some work on the sidewalk and driveways along there, but it's mostly complete. The work is being done on 4th Street right now. It was out day before yesterday. I don't know if they started putting it back yet today, and then they will move to Ash Street when they're finished with that. And the curb and brick repair, we had a very large section along Elm Street between 6th and 8th that needed to be replaced, and the driving surface is a lot better. We still have Walnut from 12th to 13th to work on. There's some bad spots there. Seal coat contractor was in town. They seal coated 5.8 miles and did a very good job this year. We're pretty happy with that product. And Brenda Kitchen, the city clerk, attended the High Plains Mental Health Independent Living Skills event where she taught individuals about obtaining city utilities, trash pickup and recycling, water conservation, pet registration, anything they need to know about operating within the community. That was it. Do I have any questions?
Tony? Commissioner Phelps, anything you'd like to add tonight?
I do not have anything other than commend our city crews. Quite a challenge they had here this week. Get all the limbs in. They did a great job.
Commissioner Melick?
Nothing this evening.
Nothing, thank you.
Nothing.
Yes, Commissioner Phelps is right. As of today, city crews have picked up 303 loads of tree limbs. This work will continue through next week. We appreciate everyone's patience as we pick up the tree limbs free of charge. It does not include construction debris, so if there's something else in your yard that's not a tree limb, we can't pick it up because we have nowhere to take it. But we do want to thank Public Works Director Bill Ring with the Ellis County and the Ellis County Commissioners for allowing to dump these trees at no cost. That kind of collaboration is important, as was their help on the culvert on West 27th Street. No other business? We're adjourned.